Welcome to the Hopenning, the place where hope is happening, with your hosts Fran Cadron and Marina Theron-Monnery. For more information about Fran and Marina, or to apply to be a guest on the show, please go to our website www.hopenning.com. The Hopenning is for informal purposes only and is based on the research of your hosts, Fran and Marina. They, as well as their guests, are not responsible for any losses, damages, or liabilities that may arise from this podcast, which is not intended to replace any professional medical advice or care by medical professionals you are currently utilizing. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today again on the Hopenning number 121 in our fourth season of this wonderful podcast. We are very, very blessed to have you with us. And we are equally blessed today to have again with us our guest, Peter Paul Parker. Peter Paul Parker is a dance master in the mind, body, spirit arena, a musician and sound healer. He works with both the energy and physical body. Peter is a Gong champion, winning the international competition with a British team in Korea in 2016. Peter runs a successful coaching business, achieving amazing results, helping people to connect more to their inner self. The coaching creates their authentic self-image. He has set up a local charity called Brighter Living, helping the elderly with their health and well-being using Qigong and meditation. Peter also worked with schools locally, helping students connect with themselves. Peter has launched the Bright Beings Academy online internationally, which incorporates everything that he does to empower people to reach their full potential as human beings. Peter's motto is journey inwards, succeed outwards. Wonderful to have you here. And just for everybody watching, we interviewed Peter in our previous episodes, so please watch them both. Today is a sequel of what we discussed in our previous episode, where we got the background, the why, and the how Peter grew into where he is today. So welcome back, Peter.
Oh, it's lovely to be here. Thank you so much for such a wonderful, warm welcome and introduction.
So, Peter, yesterday we talked about the different things that brought you from your childhood all the way to where you are now. And as we said before, trauma starts in the stuff that happens in childhood affects us for our whole life, but it does make us better people because of the strength we needed back then to get where we are right now. But you're a Qigong champion, and that's phenomenal. Like that, even that achievement coming from your you had humble backgrounds, is phenomenal. But even more phenomenal is the work that you do with your clients, I think. Something that stuck with us is how the body, I think of it as the body keeps the score, right? There's a book, both of us, Marina and I, have read called The Body Keeps the Score, that really talks about how the body holds on to trauma. So maybe before we even get into the Qigong part of it, can you just tell our viewers that might not know a little bit about how that happens with emotional trauma, how it gets stuck in the body?
Sure. My take on it is that the body's made of water and it holds memory. Water holds memory. If you look at the Heart Math Institute and other scientists now who are looking into it, water is phenomenal. It's got so many things that we don't know about it. But one of those aspects to water is that it holds memory. And we are 75 to 80% water, also energetic, with lots of energy. But I feel that our subconscious is actually caught up in the water. The memories from our past is caught up in the water. Because my experience through doing this Qigong work is that I'm having memories come up that I didn't even know that I had sometimes. But it's also from traditional Chinese medicine from the meridian lines and also the chakra systems that holds certain elements to our memory. So, for instance, your liver would be anger, or your stomach would be anxiety. But anger, it can go back previous lives. You can still hold anger in your liver from previous lives. And I feel I've done that as well. I've had vivid memories as if it happened yesterday. For instance, I'll give you one example of one of the lives that I had, is when I walked into this room, which was very ostentatious, and it was just the most phenomenal, beautiful room that any materialist would love. And I put my hand through this infinity swimming pool and flicked the water up and looked at the waterfall down, and then I saw the view that I had from the infinity pool going into a balustrade ledge, looking out at mountains just falling into the sea. And I just thought, this is so beautiful. And then I remember the thought that I had was, what I did all worth it? Was what I did all worth it as I flicked the water up? And I'd obviously in a position where I had everything material in my body that I needed as a human being. And that memory came back through the work on getting, why am I angry? Why am I so angry? Why am I so angry at the monetary system that we live with today, and the debt-based system? And that was one of the things that came to me, was that I was part of that in that time, whenever that time was. So I feel that we do hold it on the body, because when I released that anger, that memory became prevalent. That's what I found really weird about it. So it gets very strange how this body works, because this body is an antenna. It's a receiver and transmitter of information. That's all it is. It's a computer. So if you can think about your computer, it's like a hard wired to work in a certain way. And then you have the software that comes in on top, which is like our energy, and then it goes deeper into the energy, into the soul. And so with our bodies, when we actually start to purify and cleanse our bodies up, this cleansing actually starts to happen on an energetic level, and I would say a soul level, i.e. your core level. As we were talking about yesterday, the polishing of the diamond, it goes as deep as that, to you actually polishing not just this life, but previous lives as well, which is what all the ascended masters and all the spiritual gurus that I've followed actually talk about. So how I found this was, I had an out-of-body experience when I was a musician, and I was playing with Thin Lizzy. I'm not sure if you remember them, but they were like an old rock band, and I was playing bass as a tribute to Phil Lynott. So I was with the original members of Thin Lizzy, and I was in a band as well, but I did that as like a few session gigs, and I had an out-of-body experience. I came out of my body and I looked down at myself, and I went, what am I doing up here? It's the first big gig I had ever had. So I go, what am I doing up here? I'm playing the gig of my life, and now I'm up in the auditorium. But then I suddenly realized that I'd lost all of this heaviness, all the thoughts, the conditioning, everything that I'd ever experienced, not just in this life, but everything. I was just this energy, a ball of energy. And then I looked around the auditorium at the top, and I realized there was these other spheres of energy around me. And I was going, wow, what is this? And it felt like I was there for ages. We were playing a song called Dancing in the Moonlight, and it was in a jam period. It was actually when we were sort of making the music up as we were going along, as the musicians were soloing over. So it wasn't, I could do that in my sleep, basically. I was so well trained as a bass player. So then I popped back in my body, went, whoa. And I thought, what was that? And then for about 2 or 3 weeks later, I was saying to people, wow, this is amazing, and they were going, Peter, I think you've lost the plot, and your head's getting too big because your ego's getting too big, and all. I said, it's got nothing to do with the gig I just did. This is about me having an experience, and people were finding it very difficult to be around me at that point, because I was so enamored by this. We're not the body. And all this trauma is stuck in the body, because I didn't feel any of that trauma or any of the memories or the hurt or the pain when I'd come out of my body. And the band I was in at that point, the singer rang me up about 2 weeks later and said, we have to let you go, Peter, because you're too much of a space cadet now. You're too talking weird language, and we can't, we're here to rock and roll and have a party. And so that's what actually got me on the path of going, well, what is this body and how does it work? And then a few weeks later, I did have another out of body experience. It was a lot quicker, but I felt connected to everything. And then I shot back into the body. So I felt like I was the universe for a millisecond. I don't know how long it was. And then I came back into the body. And that made me think, well, what is this? And I bought books on astral projection at that point, and then looking into other things, but there wasn't much around at that time, and there wasn't the internet where we have the resources today. So I kind of fell back to sleep. Then I got back into drinking again and fell back to sleep, and got back around to being a musician again, and took a few more auditions, got in a few more bands, and did a bit more work. But that was the point when I realized that we hold everything in our body that we've got in today, even bring it in from old past lifetimes. But it was then that in the back of my mind, I was thinking, how do I heal this body then? And I just put it up there because there was nothing around at that time when I was doing that. The universe wasn't opening up options for me. So I just went with what I had. And after I'd spoken to a really good astrologist, I mean, there's some really good ones out there, there's some really bad ones out there, but a really good astrologist, she did my chart when I went over to visit her. I went over to visit her sons, actually. And she said, halfway through your life, well, you're going to be in music, a musician, an entertainer. Halfway through your life, you're going to switch to something more energetic. And I thought, I just said, what do you mean energetic? And then she said, but it'll still be something to do with music or sound. What do you mean music or sound? And then, so I am, as far as I'm concerned, about halfway through my life now. And this big energetic shift has been going on for about 15 years, from being a musician to coming to this point now, working with sound and Gong and the body to heal. So now when I do the sound healing with tuning forks, you can put the tuning forks over the body, and it's jaw dropping, because the tuning fork will show you where there's dissonance in the body. And I started with the chakra system when I bought a tuning forks for the chakra system, and I was doing them over the chakras because I was half in my mind thinking, I'm going to debunk this. I'm going to debunk this and see what happens. And I started doing it, and it was going with the tuning forks, and I was keep moving the tuning forks over the chakra, and then it would heal. It would come back into this beautiful tone. And then I would speak to the client after the session and say, well, what's been going on in your life this week? And they'll be explaining what I found in the chakras, say if it was the sense of self or the sense of ego that may be taking over, or a lack of esteem, a low self-esteem. They'll be in the solar plexus chakra, or their one-to-one relationships would be tested at that point. It'd be the second chakra, or even their connection to the earth and their community would be the root chakra. Sometimes they felt like they couldn't express themselves. They'd have problems in their throat chakra, and it all aligned. And I thought, oh my goodness me, this you can clear the frequencies with sound. So I bought the solfeggio tones. The solfeggio tones are channeled. So I was very dubious with them because they're channeled. So I don't trust all the channelers that are out there. I think some of them are very dubious. But they were channeled, and I thought, okay, well, let's try and debunk these ones then. And I did the solfeggio tones on top of the chakra healing that I was doing. And goodness me, it was the same. Most of it was, I think it's 714 hertz frequency. I haven't done it for a while, but 714 frequency, which was expressions and solutions. And some of the clients who came in, it was almost feedbacking on the fork. It was so bad, and they're saying, "Oh, I can't fix this problem." And I'm going, "Well, can you see it a little bit clearer now? Once I've cleared that energy," they go, "Yeah, I can now, because of this sound bath. You made me feel really relaxed." So all of these things are pointing, it's the body, it's the body, it's the body. It's not the mind. It's because the mind, as like Marina said to me, we're all Zen masters. We are all Zen, we're all masters of ourselves. We have this body that is so confusing because we've got so many energies coming into the body. If you think about it, you've got your mother's and your father's DNA, but also you have an energy that incarnates at the time the cells become two. So there's a flash, I think it's called the zinc flash, that happens then. and you've got two cells. All of a sudden, it becomes a being, an entity, rather than just a cellular being. So that's where people say this. I don't know whether it's true, but I tend to go with it because it sounds right to me that the soul enters the body then, and therefore we've got this confusing time of 9 months in the womb of thinking, hang on a minute, what am I? Am I this spirit that comes in? Am I this DNA? And it's kind of a tussle for 9 months in the womb. No wonder babies come out and go, it must be so confusing for them. It must be really hard being stuck in there. And now I see my understanding is growing, that I realize that we have all of these things that we need to be working out, because it feels like we're just gaining knowledge to grow and grow and grow, to go up to higher levels of consciousness in the astral and the causal fields, which are in the Vedas. They talk about the gross material world. They don't mean it by as in gross as in disgusting, but a heavy, dense world. Then you have the astral world and then the causal world. The astral world is more of an energetic blueprint of this world, and then you have the causal world, which is just pure thought. So we can exist in that pure thought, but manifest anything we want in that realm just as pure thought. So it's the body is what anchors us down here, and there's a reason for us to be here, and I feel it is to learn. And I've learned so much working through the body for myself with my Qigong experiences and also experiences with sound. So I hope that explains it well. I know that went a bit all over the place, but yeah.
I love it. I love the passion of it all, and so much, again, so much resonates with me, the music, that energy, the vibration of energy, and how our bodies is just energy. Like,
yes,
that's just all it is. And also, we're here to learn. I 100% agree with that. And I think that we come from spirit, and then we go through this human experience forgetting who we really are. And what you explain is the power we have over ourselves to heal. And so I want to go a little bit more into Qigong. Tell us a little bit more about that. How did you get into it, and how do you apply it today? How is it life changing?
Qigong, I got into it, as I said, from the Mind, Body and Spirit Festival that I went to, and I was doing the pity party with the master at the stall. I started doing the training. My stress and anxiety dropped very quickly. My trauma took a lot longer. But what I realized was, as I was training more deeply, that I was changing, and I was starting to get into, because I couldn't sit still and do meditation to save my life. I couldn't sit still and calm my mind. My mind was just everywhere, busy all the time, thinking. Typical Virgo, left brain analyzing, then the right brain creating. So I was always on the go, and people used to sit and watch TV and things like that when I was in my 20s and 30s. I never did. I was always in the studio writing songs, going out to parties, or doing whatever. I was always busy because the brains, both sides of my brain was always buzzing. So Qigong helped me to actually calm my mind, and I realized that quickly when you focus your mind on your body and your breath, and you're moving in a soft, relaxed manner. So you're reprogramming your subconscious mind to move in a relaxed manner, because my shoulders were up here because I was so stressed out and my mind was busy. And I realized my shoulders were because my teacher, Hopenning, she's a wonderful Korean lady. Peter, relax your shoulders. Peter, relax your shoulders. Because they're always up here. And I remember when I started to get into the flow of the energy, I started to realize that my training with the Bruce Lee martial arts, if I'd have done the Qigong on top of that, I would have been a phenomenally brilliant at martial arts. But I didn't, because we weren't taught Qigong at that point. So Qigong really is just really about focusing your mind on your body and your breath. And that's really difficult because we're always trained to go out. From a very early age, we're conditioned to go out. And when we do little exercises, say, for instance, when I go into an elderly community home and I get them to push a palm and a fist up and then just switch, just simply like that. If you want to try that, it can be quite difficult. Might be easy. Yeah, you got it quite easily. So people who can't get it, and then you do it into your body. Do it into your body. Just do the same thing into your body. Is that more difficult?
Easier.
No, easier.
It's harder.
Oh no, there you go.
Harder.
That's what it normally is. Because it's
Yeah.
harder for us to come into our body than it is to go out. So that's a little demonstration that I do, but not with everyone, Marina. Some of us
Yeah.
get it quickly, others don't. It doesn't matter. It's not a competition.
I'm
But
used to
we're
keeping
trained
rhythm, so maybe why?
musicians. We're always,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Musicians. But that's what I've show people to say we're not focusing on our body. And when we do little finger exercises, like this is a bit more difficult when you got your index finger and your little finger up and your two fingers up like a victory sign. And then you just go 1, 2, and you switch.
Ooh.
Yeah. And you
Okay,
Oh,
switch
it's gonna take me
that's
longer than
super
one,
interesting.
two. Okay.
and you switch. So that's how much we're out away from our body. So the mind needs to come
Gosh,
into the
yeah.
body. So when but the mind is like a time traveler, right? And when we go into our imagination, you can lose hours and hours and hours, thinks it's only minutes. And that's our consciousness going into the astral and causal realms because it's only linear here. We only see linear time here. So when our imagination goes away, it's not really being in the linear time, but our body is. And the body gets stressed because it's going, where's the mind gone? Goodness me. And the mind wants to come back to the body because it's connected. We are connected. And so therefore focusing the mind on the body, but using your imagination at the same time, it really does change everything because you're more connected and grounded into the body. So we have three major principles with the Qigong practice that I teach. There's loads of principles, but three major ones is where your mind goes, your energy follows. Now, so many people have an issue with that because where's our mind going? Oh, I've got to get the money for the mortgage. I've got to get dinner for the kids. I've got to do this. I've got to do that. Do that. It's all going out, 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 out all the time because we're so rushed and stressed that we're always focusing out. So when I get people to focus in on the Qigong classes, which there was a lady, an 80-year-old lady in one of my elderly classes, she said to me a little while ago, she said, all my life, I've never been able to sit still. I've never been able to sit still. It sounded like me when I was younger. And since doing your class now, I can. I can sit there and be still and be with myself. And I went, oh my goodness, that is so brilliant. That's so brilliant. So it's what if you can bring your mind back into your body, now you're starting to be able to heal yourself in a more profound manner. So the placebo effect, which Bruce Lipton talks about quite a lot, and Joe Dispenza as well, the placebo effect, when your mind's focusing on your body and go, yeah, I am healing, there you go. You're giving all your cells in your body this positive perception that it's self-regulating and self-healing, which is what the body does. So the mind focusing on the body is one of the most important things, one of the most important principles that we teach. We also teach water up, fire down. And that means if you think about nature, when the sun's beating down on the water evaporates and comes up. So it's a natural flow of energy. And why we teach that, you've got the meridian going up the back and the front. You've got the governor meridian going up the back and the conceptual meridian coming down the front. Water energy goes up from the kidneys, which is the healing energy of the body. Water energy is the healing energy of the body, which keeps you either in fear or calm. That goes up to the brainstem, which keeps the brain cool. So when you're practicing Qigong, if you check the back of your head, the back of your neck and your head, it should be like a fridge. And it took me years to get it, but now it's like a fridge. And that means your brain will be working properly because your brain needs to work in a cool manner because it's like a computer. It's very energy intensive. Your brain, it really does consume a lot of energy. So it needs to be cool, like a computer drive. A computer that needs to be cool for it to work properly. But then the fire down. Why the fire down? You've got the emotional heat of the heart. In our society, it's going up to the head, which is why we're all getting hot heads. But it needs to be going down to what we call the lower danjon into your gut. So your gut is your enteric nervous system, and this is like your second brain. But which brain is working? How we don't really know. So when you realize this has got neurons, the same amount of neurons as a small cat or a small dog or a cat in our gut. So this has brain cells as well, which are perceptions. And 95% of our energy goes from our gut up to our brain. About 5% comes down to do the peristalsis actions. So our gut is talking to our brain all the time with masses of information, and it should be warm. And this is again scientifically proven that when your abdomen is warm, your immune system is working better and your body starts to work better. So if you've got a cool head and a warm belly, you have the water up, fire down, which is why we do a lot of danjon tapping, a lot of intestine exercises in my practice to keep this area warm and subtle and soft. So water up, fire down is such an important principle because it keeps the balance of the energies in harmony. And then the third one is the three treasures that you have in your body, which is, now we go into the energy a little bit more. Your lower danjon, your middle danjon, and your upper danjon, which is like the second chakra, the fourth chakra, and the sixth chakra. So the lower danjon is to do with your power, your passion, and your creativity. So if you think about when you need power or you need passion, I think I alluded to this to our last conversation, that the passion is being dragged away onto actually mindless things, which really aren't of any note really at all. Our power is being perceived to be taken away from us. But if you look at people like Gandhi or John Lennon or Bob Marley or people like that, or Martin Luther King or Nelson Mandela, they didn't lose their power. They didn't lose their power. They were very strong human beings. They were peaceful, and they just spoke how they felt. They didn't lose their power. But we tend to give our power away because, especially us as highly sensitive people, is it me? Is there something wrong with me? So we give our power away, and we lose our passion, and therefore our creativity tends to dwindle as well, which is why I think I used a lot of my power to create music and songs and things like that. So your lower danjon is the most important part of this for your connection. And that's what we were taught teaching Qigong. Because I was all, what about the upper danjon, the sixth chakra and your connection to... No, down to the lower danjon first, we were told. And so we spent hours tapping our lower danjons, doing lower work, grounding into the earth. And my goodness me, am I glad I did that, because it really changed my understanding of everything. And then that power comes up into your heart, which is your middle danjon. You've got to go through your solar plexus, which is your sense of self, which is important because you need to be able to project yourself into the world as a human being, and you need to have that thrust. But the ego can get overblown, and you start to think it's all about you, when actually it's about the energies that you use. So you're just literally a vessel of energy projecting into the world. And if you start to think it's you, it's a bit like thinking the body is you, then that's when the ego issues start to happen. But if it's just you thrusting yourself out into the world, that's fine. I think it's important to have ego. People get confused with that issue. But when you come into the heart, that's when you're coming into your love, your empathy, and your compassion. And the word love, I've found in our society, has been really tainted with weird connotations to it. But love is unconditional love. And I'll give you an example of this. We used to have a prime minister called Tony Blair in this country, and he took us to war in Iraq. And every time I went into any meditation or open focus training, they said, think about something that made you angry. That made me angry because we went into war under a lie. And I don't want to go on about that, but it made me feel hate. And I thought, this was really good for me, because I'm thinking, I'm not a hateful person, but why do I feel this hate? And I worked on that. And now I feel unconditional love for Tony Blair, because I feel sorry for him, because he's stuck in this horrible mess of where he is. And he looks like a haunted man because of it. So I actually would love to help him, but obviously I'm never going to be in that position. Well, you never know. But that's what I realized about the heart chakra and the unconditional love is this forgiveness and this understanding of what position they're in, where you're actually putting your empathy and compassion out. Whereas a lot of people now are like really holding, which is a lot of people cross their arms and hug themselves because they're holding their heart chakra. Because they can't put out that empathy and compassion anymore because of the lack of trust and the lack of community that we're starting to feel as human beings. And I just found that whole thing interesting. So we have the in position, which is like the embracing the heart, embracing humanity, which is a holding position, which again, holding positions help to build up lactic acid in the muscles so that it really starts to ache, so that your body starts to become more efficient at releasing nasty stuff like lactic acid and all the toxins and pathogens that get stuck in the body. So the heart, that's you're coming from the lower danjon into the middle danjon, your heart. This is where the power, the power is rising in your body, which is the spinal cord fluid, which is what they call the kundalini in yoga. And then it comes up to the upper danjon, which is your wisdom, your intuition, and your vision. Now, this gets really distorted if you haven't done your lower work. It really does get distorted. Not for everybody. I'm not saying everybody gets this distortion, but bless them, there's lots of space cadets out there who are, they cherry pick some of the things that they get, and they're talking about it openly. And for me, I would say that's part of the story, but a very small part of the story. Whereas people are like saying that's the truth. And I'm not knocking people for saying that, because I think it's fine. And I really do agree with freedom of speech. But it's when it comes from the lower danjon to the middle danjon to the upper danjon, and that chemical energy, as well as the spinal cord fluid, comes and hits the pineal gland. As you know, Joe Dispenza's work with is a piezoelectric conductor. When the chemistry hits the piezoelectric crystals, it goes out as electricity and comes back as electricity. And then you when that's foggy, you're going, well, what's going on? Am I going mad? What's the problem with this? And that was what was going on with me when I was doing my training. And we were going up the modules of Shimsung, which was finding your true self. First, it was initial awakening, then finding your true self. Then we did Dotong, which was the first commitment to, I'm going to be focusing on myself now completely. And then we went up to the Healer Nims, which was the training to be an instructor, then finally to a Dharma master. And through some of those workshops, it was so confusing. There was a time when I was looking into the Hopi Indians, the Native Americans of of America, and I was researching into the blue star of Kachina, the cleansing star. They call it, what's his name? I can't remember the name. Lord Caitanya, coming down from the Vedas, same thing, blue star coming down and cleansing the earth at this point. And I remember in one of the Dotong workshops that I was in, I was lying there with my meditation. This most beautiful blue star was 3D in my mind vision, and it was spinning and glinting, and it was telling me, we're coming here to clean this up. We're coming here to clean this up. We're going to help you clean this up. And I'm going, I've never had anything like this before. This is a bit bizarre. This is even more profound than the out of body experiences, because there's something now. There's an entity in my mind's eye that's spinning in a 3D way, is telling me this is working. We're coming to help you, and you have to do the work, though. You have to do the work, and you have to get on with it. And I was going to everyone again, the same thing. I was like, wow, I saw the blue star of Kachina, blah, blah, blah. And people go, yes, Peter, that's all very good, very good, very good. Very nice to hear, nice to see, blah, blah, blah. So that gets deeper and deeper to me now. Lying in a room, you can fill the room with your energy. You can hit bliss I can hit bliss quite easily when I do meditations and things like that. I do a lot of sound toning where I can feel the vibrations all the way down to my fingertips and my toes. And my body's very, very sensitive to energy, even more so now than ever before. And I find meaningless conversations a little bit harder now, because I'm really interested in this, and this is what I'm really looking at now virtually every day. I'm researching and studying and even watching documentaries more and discussing this and going out and doing it with the Qigong. And that's why I love the Qigong, because even though if someone walks in and they can get something out of the exercise class, that's great. But it's when people actually start to say to me, as I said last night, it was they're becoming a better person because of it, then you go, wow, I'm doing my job properly. When people are saying, I don't get this, I have to keep asking them, well, why? And you realize that they're sort of stuck in that place of being atheistic and not believing that there's anything past this anyway. So it's a bit like, if you do sound healing or you Reiki or even Qigong with people like that, they block you. It's very easy to block the energy. And that also is a learning point for me, because it makes me realize how much I was blocking the energy when I was younger, because I was conditioned to be in the way that I was. And then when you open up to this without opening your mind so much that your brains fall out, you open your mind up to start to build up your empirical evidence as you do, as you go through this. You go, it's that feeling, that wonderful feeling of, oh my goodness me, this is real. We're not just having a conversation. This is actual real. There's something much deeper to this. And I'll finish on this point because this was very interesting. Last night we were watching a guy who's just been going around and speaking to people who've been in comas, and he's been documenting that. And he's been saying that there was one particular guy who was in a coma for about 2 to 3 weeks. He had a 30-year life experience while he was in that coma. He had a 30-year, I think he was a musician, and then he met somebody. He'd had quite a fanciful life. Then he met somebody, settled down, had a child. He was looking forward to. He was starting to have problems with that relationship, but he was going to look after the child, whatever happened. All of a sudden, he comes back into his body, and he realizes, wow, what is this? And he's saying, I need to get back there because I need to look after the child. I can't be here. This isn't me anymore. And apparently this guy's research has been showing that the way we're putting people into comas is actually giving them different life experiences through energy through the quantum field. And they've got no one to talk to because the doctors are just telling them they're crazy. And the doctors are telling them, oh, take some medication, you'll get over it. And they're saying this experience is real. And I know that this experience is real by having out-of-body experiences and getting deeper into my meditations with these blue stars turning up and feeling like I'm the only one in the room and almost leaving my body. And the tricks of using your pineal gland, or when you go to sleep, if you go to sleep unconscious, you probably go into a dream. If you go to sleep slightly conscious, you'll go into a lucid dream. If you go to sleep actually conscious, you'll astrally project. And actually, if you train your body, you could actually do out-of-body experiences. Now, I realize that's what the pineal gland is for. And that's why we've got time on this earth to actually learn all of this. But we're not doing it because we're too busy and stressed out. So, yeah, that's my feeling of getting into Qigong. Qigong is a tool that I use to help me be more spiritual.
There were so many things you said that I want to comment on, but I want to just do a couple more Qigong things right where I'm sitting here. I'm hooked up, so I can't stand. But you said you work with elderly people, so some of those elderly people have to sit in a chair, right?
Yeah, we do chair Qigong. Yeah, it's not. It's about focusing your mind on your body and your breathing. That's basically what it is. So we could do. How's your head feeling? How's your head feeling now? How's your head? Do you feel clear, foggy? How's it feeling?
My neck is a little sore. I think I've been doing too much computer, but I know there's something behind that, right? So.
Oh, well, see, this is really simple, right? This is really simple. If you just look over to the right side as far as you can go, and then look over to the left side as far as you can go. I'll have to keep talking through this because otherwise the audience is going to get bored who can't see us. And then bring your hands behind your head like this. Bring your hands behind your head like this. And then lean back as if you're leaning into, or you can probably lean back on the chair and look up about 45 degrees. And now keep your head straight forward and look over to the right side as far as you can go. Keep looking over to the right side. You can blink. If you need to adjust your eyes and push over a little bit more, keep doing that. Now breathe deeply into your lower abdomen like a baby breathes. Focus on your lower abdomen coming up like a balloon. And then breathing out, let it come back down. Keep looking hard over to the right. Hard over to the right. It should be long enough. Then come back to the center. Now look hard over to the left. Do the same thing. You can blink your eyes. Keep looking hard over to the left. Keep nice and relaxed. Keep breathing deeply into your lower abdomen. Keep focusing on your breathing and keep your eyes over to the left. Nice deep breaths. Just let the body relax into the chair. That should be long enough. Okay, we come back up. Usually it should be about a minute, 30 seconds a minute. So coming back up. Now look over to your right. Oh my goodness.
Oh, wow.
And then over to your left.
That's incredible.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
How's
Wow.
how's your neck feel now? How's your
Wow.
neck feel?
That's
Better?
way better. And the how far I can look is like that much further.
Right.
Like,
Now tingling all over my arms.
my legs, actually, my legs are tingling.
There you go. You're starting to connect with your energy. That's your vagus nerve. Your vagus nerve is your commander in chief of your nervous system. And when you learn to look after that vagus nerve properly, you feel much better. I call it your spine or your vagus nerve. Your spine is like the beginnings of your five sense reality, which is why we do wag the dog's tail and waterfall and things like that to make the spine more flexible. So it's because as we live today, it's starting to get crushed. So we need to be opening the spine regularly backwards and forwards. And so we're doing all sorts of exercises to do that, to get the spine working properly. But that particular exercise with the vagus nerve, so simple, but it just opens it all up. You can do the same thing with just pulling down on your ears and it starts to open up the vagus nerve, or tap all over the head. We do tapping all over the head as well, help to clear the head. If you want to get more dreams, you tap just in the middle of your forehead, just above your eyebrows and on your crown chakra. And then close your eyes and picture a beautiful purpley, bluey ball in your mind's eye. I see it straight away here. And that will help you dream a little bit deeper. You go into more deeper dreams, but you have to do it for like a few minutes. It's just to open up the pineal gland. I can feel the pressure building up in the middle of my head now. The pineal gland's starting to wake up. But it might feel like an itchiness by your forehead, or an itchiness on the top of your head. And it starts to wake the pineal gland up. And then just sweeping the energy over your face. And you start to wake up. That's waking up your upper chakra, your sixth chakra, and it's just, but it's about energy and perception, really. So there's loads of little Qigong exercises we use, but it's stretching out the meridians, getting the chakra system working properly, and then working out what you need to do next. And it doesn't have to be too much. I remember doing a Qigong stall at one of these fetes that I go to sometimes. And there was a gym. There were two people from a gym doing the stall next to me. She was about the same age as me, the woman who was doing it, but she was walking around sort of not looking the healthiest, I must say. And it wasn't a very good advert for a gym. I said, "What's the matter with you?" He said, "Well, I've been weight training too much and my bones are beginning to crumble and my joints are beginning to ache. And the doctor said I've got to back off on the weight training." Because you shouldn't be doing that to your body. You shouldn't be doing that to you. You can get strong, really strong, very quickly with holding exercises and light push-ups and sit-ups and things like that. But focusing on your body, really focusing your mind on your body and telling your body you're working your body really hard. You don't have to work it hard, because there was experiments, scientific experiments with people. I think it was with press-ups, actually. It was with press-ups where they had controlled groups. One was doing 50 press-ups a day. One was doing no press-ups, and the other lot were just imagining they were doing the press-ups. So the ones who did the press-ups had muscle. They built muscles, obviously. The ones who didn't do anything, nothing happened. The ones who thought they would imagine they were doing press-ups built muscle. So how do they do that? Because a brain can't perceive what's real and what's not on a certain level with our imagination. So your body is phenomenal, and I keep discovering this with my practice of Qigong. It's just phenomenal how it will respond to you when your mind is geared up to focusing on your body, and you're starting to push yourself, not in a hard way, it doesn't have to be in a hard way, but push yourself to do these little brain exercises, because there's lots of fancy moves, and it gets into kind of Tai Chi as well, because you can say with Qigong, every Tai Chi move is a Qigong move, but not every Qigong move is a Tai Chi move. So Tai Chi is a martial art, Qigong is a healing art. So even we do some Tai Chi moves in my Qigong classes sometimes to keep it varied and moving. But the idea is to move softly, and you're aware of what both hands are doing at the same time. So both hands are doing really strange things, but you're aware that they're doing different things. Yeah, different things. Or it's like a beautiful dance with yourself. And you're just aware of the space and energy around you. And when you do your torus field cleansing, which is holding like a baby at your lower danjana, and you breathe in and then you breathe out and you come out like a fountain, it's called the fountain. If you use your intention, close your eyes, cleanse your torus field. Long, slow, deep breath in and then breathe out. Cleanse your torus field. Like I feel that now. Straight away, all around my head. It's all starting to clear. My intention is clear the torus field. You know, you've heard of Jonathan Goldman. Jonathan Goldman came up with the equation sound plus intention equals healing. Same thing with Qigong. Movement plus intention equals healing. All about the mind. It's all about the power of the mind. So, yeah, Qigong has helped me understand all of this in such a more profound way. And I wouldn't have ever thought I would be saying that in my life. Because when I used to see people doing Tai Chi and Qigong as a younger man, go, what's that all about? You know, what's that all about? It's really contemptuous almost towards it. Now I can see what it does, but it does take focus, because a lot of people get bored with it because they think, well, it's not getting anywhere, because you get plateaus. When you go up plateaus like this, moving up plateaus, and you can get stuck in the same place for quite a long time, which is why it's good to have mentor or coaching with that, because it helps you to get over the plateaus a little bit quicker, and you find out what you need to work on a little bit more, which is why it's better to have hands-on mentors or coaches, which is what I had. I was lucky enough to have a center to go to. At the end, before I became an instructor, I was going 3 times a week anyway, and starting to do it at home as well. And now I do it every day. I wake up every day without even thinking about it. I'm doing 45 minutes to an hour of Qigong every morning. And if you'd have said that to me 30 years ago, I'd have laughed in your face, because there's no way I'm doing that. So it's almost like it's the best kind of drug that you can have, I think, personally.
It's amazing. I want to circle back to something you said earlier, because it's almost as if you expressed into words a thought that I've had around current politics, especially in North America, and hatred for a certain politician. And I believe in collective energy, in influencing our life as we know it on this planet. And if I can appeal to anybody watching right now to turn that hatred for a certain politician into exactly what you did with Tony Blair, don't you think we can collectively change, not necessarily the outcome? I don't think that will do it, but life as a whole.
Yes, I totally agree with you. It's that unconditional love. I look at all of this. I had a friend pop over today, and we were talking a bit about this, and it's about love, unconditional love, and realizing that the people who are in these perceived authorities are like children. They're like children playing. And what we need to do is have the wisdom come back down. And it's us. We're doing this. We're doing the work. We're starting to bring the wisdom down and put that energy, wisdom into the world. And when we start to do that and send love, it becomes, the fight is over, because there's no fight. When you have love, there's no fight. There's no friction there, because all of this stuff where they create friction, that's where the shadows come in, and that's where all the corruption comes in and all that. But once you get rid of the friction and you send love, and the best intentions. So really, please do the best you can for a messy situation. Yes, I agree with you. I think I wouldn't have said that a few years ago, but now I would say that now because I didn't understand it. I must admit, I didn't understand when somebody was speaking like that. I heard somebody speaking like that. I didn't get what they were saying, but now I get exactly what you're saying. I think it's so true that we should be doing that. And one of the things that turned my head to that was when I think it was Theresa May was the Prime Minister of this country, and I had the wonderful experience of spending time with the president of the Hare Krishnas in London. I'm not a Hare Krishna, but I was learning about the Vedas and the Vedic scripts, and he went to see Theresa May, and I said to him, what did you get from her? And he said, she is unbelievably stressed, unbelievably anxious, depressed, not happy with what she's doing, and I was just sending her love. I was just sending her love to try and heal that, but I couldn't see that the way that the systems are, that how can you do that when you're putting people, human beings, under such pressure from all sides? It's like a compression tank. So he was giving them unconditional love, and there are other spiritual gurus who are doing that. They're going into political arenas like the UN and the European Union, and even I think the British Parliament. We've got people doing that there, and I think some of it is starting to come through. I think some of it is starting to there's green shoots everywhere on this earth, and we've got to look for them, and we've got to water them, because when we water them, we go, well, actually, that was good. Even though if you have a polarized political view or religious view, if somebody does something good, we need to praise that. It doesn't matter where it's from. And there's green shoots coming up everywhere. But there's terrible corruption as well everywhere. So we need to be discerning and wise enough to distinguish between the two. And to me, that's what I feel this is. What they call it the Kali Yuga in the Vedas. This is the Iron Age. We've hit the bottom of the Iron Age for this, and we're bouncing back up into a Golden Age. So they did predict this, that men are going to want to be women, women are going to want to be men. And this was like 10,000 years ago that these scripts were written, that students will kill their teachers, which we've had in this country. We've had people stabbing and killing their teachers. You'll have disrespect for all governments, because all governments will be corrupted. They wrote all this down. And so to me now, it's not a surprise that this is happening. But what's going to be wonderful, and what I'm expecting, I think we all should be expecting, is these green shoots growing and growing and growing. Because when I do research into and speak to many people across the world, there's little communities. There's a quite a big community of over 1,000 people in Australia that I was speaking to, who've set their own stuff up. They've set their own energy sources up. They've got their own food growing. They've got the community growing, and people are joining that community all the time. There's another one when I went over to Denmark. It's called Freetown, I think, in Denmark, and there's some people who are slightly lower consciousness, but they're sitting there growing their food as well, cleaning their water up, making sure everything's recycled, keeping everything neat and tidy. And this is happening all over the world. There's communities sprouting up all over the world. And to me, that means it's not too far away from coming into mainstream, because I think so many people are discrediting themselves when they come onto the television. Not that I watch it very much, but occasionally I can see the odd clip on YouTube of some people, and you go, no, it's like transhumanism. And Greg Braden and what's his name also talks about it. William Henry's beautiful soul. He talks about the rainbow body of light, and he's really into Buddhism, Christianity, and all these amazing these amazing things. And they're talking about transhumanism, and there was another guy I was heard talking. He was trying to get to Ray Kurzweil, who's really behind the transhumanist project, where they're trying to get us to become sort of transhuman, but we don't need to do that, because we can do this for ourselves. We can learn how to do this for ourselves. And this is where we're at a gap, or we're at a bridge at the moment, and this bridge is going to go towards humanity, because I think people are going to realize that they're losing connection with each other, losing the heart chakra, where that makes you feel good and that makes you feel more alive and aligned with humanity, Whereas if you go further and further into this transhumanism, where you're getting more and more illusory experiences, this is not good. People will feel detached and depressed and anxious again, and all that entertainment will not make up for the lack of love in your heart. So yeah, I think what you say is dead true. It's all about love. This is, and I've always said that to my family, and they've always said, not everything. I said, yes, everything's about love. Yeah, it's all about love. So totally resonate with that one.
Well, thank you, Peter. I could listen to you for another session.
I agree. My thoughts exactly.
I'm
And
always
my
happy
neck
to.
feels so much better, you know.
Oh, good,
I am
good.
not going to the massage therapist today. I do not have to go anymore.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for that. That was simple and easy, and I could do it right here in front of my
yeah.
computer. Thanks.
But yeah, on my YouTube channel, I've got lots of little free Qigong exercises under short tasters. So you can just go to Peter Paul Parker on YouTube and find my YouTube channel, and you can get loads and loads of little exercises on there. There's classes on there, and it's good. But I do it online as well, live classes as well. I've got all of that in the academy in one place. But
So
on
what
the
is the
YouTube, you can do
name
it.
again? How do we get what is your website address?
Brightbeingsacademy.com.
Okay.
And that has all sorts of wonderful things on there. I've just released an online course actually today called Rewrite Your Self-Image. And your self-image is the mental picture you have of yourself. And I'm finding that most people's mental picture of themselves is not very good. So that's what I thought I'd do with the course, is to help them connect more with, actually, it's Hermes Trismegistus. Remember him? With the Hermetic principles, the 7 Hermetic principles. And what I've found through becoming an entrepreneur and through going a few going through a few business and marketing courses, that all the top people are all talking about spiritual concepts to make it successful. And I went, wow, that is incredible. And the Bob Proctor, who does the Think and Grow Rich, his is all about three hermetic principles: the law of vibration, the law of frequency, and the law of attraction. So people think the law of attraction, I just think and it all happens. No, you have to be aligned with the law of frequency and the law of vibration. So your body needs to be vibrating in the right way, so you can tune into the higher frequencies, which is what I was talking about with the chakra system and coming up the danjons. You tune into the higher frequencies, and then you have the law of attraction coming towards you. And that's how it all works. It all works hand in hand. It's The Secret, the film The Secret, was a little bit cherry picked. There was some good information in there, but it really didn't hammer home the law of frequency and the law of vibration, which is the work we need to do on our bodies, which is going back to one of the original questions of what has the body got to do with it? It's got everything to do with it, with how we vibrate on this material realm. This material realm is different to the astral realm. So I think when we get that vibration right within our bodies, that's when we start to attract, I would say, incredible things. I mean, I think one of the things I found when I was just breaking through with my Qigong, I managed to speak at the Care and Quality Commission, which they do meetings. They look after the NHS in England, the so-called free healthcare system that you pay for. They asked me to come and do some speaking on holistic health, and I thought, oh my goodness me, this is they're more into allopathic medicine, which is, some of that is really good, but a lot of it isn't in today's world. So I said yes, and I thought, well, how did I manage to get here? What am I doing speaking here? I was just learning about all of this stuff, and I did this hour's presentation thinking that they're all going to just wash it off as a load of woo-woo business. But about 5 or 6 of them came up to me afterwards and said, this was amazing conversation. You made me really rethink about how the body works, how medicine works on the body, and how we should be looking at a more holistic way of living. I said, yes, that's as simple as that. Don't want to knock anything. But this is about the vibration, and you're needing to be into a place where you need to be able to express yourself, because that's what you're feeling. You're feeling that pain at the moment, so you're trying to heal it, in not only in yourself but in the people around you. And I found myself in all sorts of weird and wonderful places like that, thinking, this is interesting. And then people go, "Wow, you're doing so well." I don't think I'm doing well. It's just that I'm doing my job. I'm actually finding the frequency that I should be at. And people call it raising your vibration, raising your frequency. It's not. It's tuning it in. It's all there anyway. You're just tuning it in. And what we've done is we've fogged it all up with all the stuff that we've been eating and drinking and consuming with our minds. We fogged it all up. So we just need to be cutting through that and finding our soul purpose, our profound purpose. Why are we here? And it can be, and this is what they say in the Vedas, and it's not the gospel as far as I'm concerned of everything, but they say in the Vedas it can be all sorts of different things. But for me, it's definitely researching into the esoteric and sharing that information, because I love doing it, and I think it's enlightening for other people when they're into it as well. And you have these conversations like we're having today, and you're going, "Wow, this is brilliant," and you feel good afterwards, right? So, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you do all your services online?
No, I do live classes as well. Some people have the pleasure of my company, for real, but not all of them. But I can do most things online. I don't really like doing the sound toning online or the sound healing.
Yeah.
But with coaching, Qigong, and which are the other two main things that I do, I do that online. And I find the coaching, it really doesn't matter me being close to people.
Mm-hmm.
The Qigong classes, the people I have at the academy, they love it. But they have the mindset. You have to have the mindset to change your perception of wanting to be in a group of people as opposed to doing it for yourself. And that's what I learned from actually training online. When I did quite a lot of training online to see and realize that. And that's when I turned around, as when I was becoming a Dharma master. This is just as good as a class. I'm going to treat this just as good as being in a group of people, because it's for me, and I'm going to feel this for me, not for anybody else. So the people in the academy have that kind of mindset. There's people who join, oh yeah, and after a couple of weeks they give up. They don't bother coming to classes. But it's about having the set time. You've got to come now. This is the live class. It's not going to be recorded. It's not going to be replayed. You come and do it now. So it's putting that into your schedule, and I find that works for people. So they become slightly more disciplined with how they live their life. Not that they have to live their life to the letter and to time, because I think there's times when we need to just float. But as a regular week, it gives them that opportunity to come to the class and do the Qigong practice. But I do love being in front of people. I don't know, it's probably the showman in me. You probably feel the same as a singer. You think, I love an audience. I do love an audience. And when I was a kid, I couldn't speak to more than two people in the room. I couldn't do that. And now, as an adult, I remember when we were in Korea for the Qigong Championship, there was a meeting there of 1,000 people. There's 1,000 people from all over the world: Japan, America, Korea, Middle East, Israel, Iran, all over the world. And I managed to get up and do like a 10-minute speech for them. And I talked about peace and love and harmony, and how all of these people here, we've been at war with each other. And now it's time for love and peace. And it's time for us to wake up and stop this. And it was, the room erupted. It just erupted with love. And all these Japanese women and men came running over to me. "Oh, Peter, give me a hug, give me a hug, give me a hug." And it just went, and I thought, this is it. This is human beings being human beings. It was just such a profound experience for me, because 1,000 people, I couldn't speak to one person. And now there's 1,000 people there in front of me, and I didn't bat an eyelid at thinking, wow, there's a big audience there. I just did it. It just came naturally. I let the energy flow through my crown chakra come out, and these words came out that were beautiful and really succinct. And that's what we do. We flow. This is what I think some of these channelers do. I think rather than them channeling something, I think they're flowing with the knowledge, because all of them say that they've researched Bashar and all these other people that they've researched, and then they do this, and then they're talking. They don't have to say, if they're not channeling, they can just say, this is coming from me. And I think it's important that we understand that when we get into a flow and we start to speak, sometimes you forget what you're saying because you're flowing from the causal realm, and that's what we have a connection with that, and we need to start to nurture that connection. And we call it chanwa, where you complete your soul on earth, and then that is to bring the heaven energy down onto earth so that the earth starts to heal itself. And that's what my mission as a Dharma master is to complete my chanwa, which is soul completion, to bring this beautiful energy, which is giving me goosebumps just saying that. It's everywhere, and we just need to bring it down and put it back onto the earth. And it's happening. It's happening.
It's happening right near here, right now. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, Peter, yesterday we had you give us one last message of hope. So now can you have your chanwa? Give us one more message of hope.
Never, ever forget that all the money in the world and all the technology in the world could never make you as you are today. If you could imagine 5 blindfolded people all standing around an elephant, and they're all feeling parts of that elephant to explain to the others what the elephant really is. So if you speak to the guy who's feeling the leg, he said, no, the elephant's the leg, and the other one feels the tail. No, it's the tail. The other one says it's the trunk. So you could say that they're all not telling the truth. They are all telling the truth, but they're just not seeing the bigger picture. So when you open your mind a little bit more to see the bigger picture and start to trust your other human beings around you, that's when we start to grow. That's when we start to love, and that's when we start to heal. So just opening your mind a little bit and just putting a little bit more love into the world, leaving anywhere that you go just a little bit better than it was when you found it. And that's how we healed this world today.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Peter. It was fantastic again. Thank you,
my
Fran,
pleasure. My pleasure.
Here.
Yeah.
And thanks for all our viewers and listeners for supporting us and tuning in. And we hope that you will subscribe and be back with us next time, and bringing you more hope.
Yeah. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Marina. Thank
My
you, everyone,
pleasure.
for watching and for listening today.
We say Kansamida. We say Chanwa Hasio. It means soul completion. Chanwa Hasio.
Chanwa Hasio.
Beautifully said. Yes.
Thank you.